Carmine from pregame prayer on Sundays like Rocky Balboa. Hey, Father Carmine, how you doing? All right. I tell you what, supposedly Jalen Hurts was named the MVP of the Super Bowl. I've never seen a guy have to fight for more respect. This guy's like the Rodney Dangerfield of the NFL. Guy wins the Super Bowl MVP. People are debating whether or not he's a good quarterback or not. Thoughts on the wide receiver, the OSU wide receiver. They got two of them, Leon. We'll talk more about the drafts, Leon. He's really good. He was a great-looking player, man. All right. Without further ado, by the way, he no longer goes by Philly.500. He goes by Champ 500. Okay? So much so that today I gave a respite to Mark because I couldn't look at that guy for 30 minutes watching that guy with a puss on his face like that. It just, Philly.500 has beat his ass so bad. It was a submission hold, and he had him like in a figure four, Greg Valentine figure four, and it was over with. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit, man, this thing's no good. So we're going to give him a respite. And without further ado, here comes the champ. It is Champ 500, Philly.500. He's here with us now here on the National Football Show. Got the lid.
The champ is here. The champ is here. What can I say? Feel good. It feels good. The champ is very happy right now. But the champ was hoping Mark Holmes would come here because I wanted to just crush him some more. But I guess you can only hurt a guy so many times.
Don't worry. We'll tag team him next week. We'll get his ass. I just want to – because I'm talking parades and off-season. You know, the Cowboys are the Super Bowl champions in the offseason, so I didn't want to hear it today. So just first, we'll start in chronological order here. What'd you make of the parade, bro?
It looked great. It looked like a great time. I mean, it looked crazy. I felt from a personal standpoint, I don't know, it was a lot more enjoyable this time than the first one. The first one was like, the first one was like great, and it's the first one, but it was also like, man, thank God we had it. You know, thank God we finally won a Super Bowl. Like now, this one was like, I don't know, it's like, it just felt like I could just sit back and relax a little bit. You know what I mean? And it felt like it wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of something. It really felt that way.
5 years from now, what team will be more remembered by Eagle fans, NFL fans, the 17 team or the 24 team?
24 team.
Why?
This is a better team all around. I think this is a better team all around. I think that this team has a lot of young guys, where that team had a lot of guys that were towards the end of their career. This team has a lot of guys who are just kind of getting started. So you're going to see a lot more of them. But I think I don't know, from just covering them, and you know, I think they're a lot more likable. And I didn't have any problems with the other Eagles team, but this team is, I think, better. I think they're younger, and I think this is first of many. So I'd say 24.
How about this one here? How about this one here? Do you agree with this one here that I'm going to take something that Yale said here, and I'm going to go and I'm going to add this. Do you think the 2023 season, do you think that had any – do you think that set up the 2024 Super Bowl champion team?
Do I think it set up? Well, I think it gave them a huge advantage in the Super Bowl, because I think that if the Chiefs play anybody else, they win. But I think playing a team that you beat a few years ago, I think it gave that Eagles an extra boost. A lot of those guys had, you know, they knew what to expect. So I think it actually was an advantage. Absolutely,
man. Hey, what'd you make of the Kevin Patullo hire as the new offensive coordinator? I mean, here, you get this.
Yeah.
Here coming up here, 8 days, you're going to have the combines. In 21 days, you're going to have that's when free agency starts. So for you, why the Kevin Patullo? You didn't seem like you were very good on it.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I worry a little bit about like the passing game. I think that's still somewhere where we can improve during the regular season. And that was kind of supposed to be his thing. So I just wonder if they're not going to be an opposing voice to Nick. Now, here's my thing. I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm not worried about it. I mean, they just won a Super Bowl. It's very hard for me to complain about something they did do. If they think he deserved it, so be it. I mean, I'm open to it, but I worry a little bit about certain things.
How about this? I said that for them to be able to do this and to go with Kevin Patullo, that lets me believe that they're not going to really deviate so much off of what they did a year ago by running the football, probably in the passing game. Would you not agree the passing game is probably the only hole in the team? Now, again, the wideout is the Lombardi Trophy. Sills, I mean, that's why I'm saying if you wanted to go out and improve the passing game, you're probably going to go outside the organization. But because of how they won the Super Bowl, are we expecting any changes, any radical changes in the offensive approach going into 25?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think they should. Like I said, I do believe a lot of those passing numbers were down because you had a running back who was getting 2,000 yards. So to me, everybody, how many times did we debate this? I thought that the Eagles, if they needed to pass the ball, they could. They just didn't need to do it. So, I mean, I think it's always there. So I wouldn't change anything on this offense as far as what they did and how they did it. No.
How about this? Kevin Patullo is not a proven play caller. Just same way Brian Johnson is not a proven play caller. Does that concern you going into this? Because he's never been a play caller at all in any way. Is that a concern?
Yeah, it definitely concerns me. But at the same time, I think they've got wiggle room to do something like this because they just won. But yeah, it does worry me because we saw what happened 2 years ago. However, I think the one thing that we're kind of missing about this is the fact that Jalen Hurts has had so many coordinators over the course of his career, right? At what point is he your de facto offensive coordinator anyways? Which he knows what he likes to do. He knows what he likes from this coach and what he had from this coach. And he could take all those things and process it. So to me, I think Hurts, though it sucks to have a bunch of different coordinators, I think he's probably getting to the point where he kind of knows what he wants to do.
How about this? I had a conversation with Zander about this, and let me hear your take on this here with Nick Sirianni. So would we not agree? Nick Sirianni now has a 700 win percentage, right? He's got 2 NFC championships in his resume. He's got a Super Bowl now, right? When does it get to a point when the organization gives him more latitude on decisions on personnel, on coaching? Because let's be candid here. Hang on here now, right? You win like that. You got a resume like that. Doug Peterson lost his job because of that. Because he wanted more autonomy. Now, John McMullen wrote a great column for Sports Illustrated and said that the politics of Nick Sirianni, he knows how to navigate around the organization. He knows how he's important. He brings his name up every single press conference. And I'm not saying it's adversarial now, but say he wins another Super Bowl. When does that dynamic between Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni come to a head where you do this? Or do you think everything is going to be family business? Everyone's going to know their role. No one's going to step over their bounds of what they want. Surely every time a guy wins more, he expects more in return, doesn't he? You expect to get paid more to win more.
Well, he's going to be the highest paid coach in the league. So that's going to happen.
$20 million.
I think he's going to be the highest paid coach in the league. I think he'll get more than Ben.
Why would they do that when they replace every guy and they've won with other guys? Jeffrey Lurie, I think he's okay. Well, then here, let me ask you this: do you think Nick Sirianni's a product of the system of how the Philadelphia Eagles do business, or do you think that they won a Super Bowl because of Nick Sirianni?
I think a little bit of both. Okay, now listen, I was as skeptical about. I lost confidence in Nick Sirianni at the end of last year with that collapse. I did. but he went out there and proved himself. I think Nick, well, for whatever reason, those players love him and they play for him. I also think what he does better than Doug is I think he develops young talent way better than Doug. They play a lot earlier. They come out and they affect the team. Look how many young guys are playing on this team. So to me, I think Nick, I think Nick is he may not be the greatest play caller in the world. He may not be a guy who should be coaching and calling plays and offensive coordinator, but managing the team and what he does there, I think you got to give him his credit. I think he deserves it. And I do think that there will be a dynamic at some point where he's going to want a little more say, and then the Eagles are going to have to figure that out. Howie's only going to give you so much probably, but I think Nick handles it way better than Doug did.
How about this, though? Don't you agree that Nick was a product of the coaching and the experienced coordinators and developing of talent? I mean, the defense on that side of the ball, I don't think I don't think Nick developed any of those guys. I think Vic Fangio developed those guys.
Why?
And I think the hiring of Vic Fangio was an organizational hire.
It was a great hire, and it was, but the coach is the guy who's come up with the plan. I mean, he emphasized, and he has spoken about this for years about developing those guys. So it trickles down to the coaching, and they did a great job in hiring all those defensive coaches. I mean, and I think that you're right. Vic Fangio is a part of that. Clint Hurt, all those guys have a part in it, but it trickles down and starts with the coach, in my opinion.
Here's what I'm offering Zach Bond. 3 years, $31 million. That's it. And here's why.
That's it.
The majority of Zander wants to go to 13, okay, per year, okay? And here's why. His market value right now is 3 years, it's $99.7 million because he's 28 and he's only done it 1 year. The majority of the guys who signed these big-time contracts were either 24 or 25. They weren't 28 years old. And he's done 1 year. Now ask yourself this. Did you see any drop-off from Nakobe Dean when Oren Burks got put in there? I didn't see any drop-off. I thought he played his ass off, and to me, that makes me think, well, could Vic put Dre Greenlaw in there? And could you have the same results because of the guys up front? Because I'll tell you this, Philly, if you put Zach on the open market, he goes to Jacksonville, you'll never hear about that guy again.
Probably not. You're right. Probably not. I think he's a perfect fit for what Vic wanted to do. It was a perfect match made in heaven. But I don't know. I don't know if Greenlaw has. I don't know if he comes in and does.
What I just threw a name out.
No, I get it. And I thought there was a little bit of a drop off with Burks and Nakobe Dean. I think Nakobe Dean was a tone setter, and Burks played great though. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take anything from him. I would bring him back. But I do think there was a drop-off between him and Nakobe Dean. I do. It may not have been dramatic in the playoffs, but, I think it was there. And I think that if you risk letting Zach Bond out the door, I think you create a hole you don't need. I think this guy is the real deal. I think what you saw from him is, I think he's the case of a guy that was overlooked for whatever reason, was out of position, and that Fangio found the perfect spot for him, and it worked out. I don't think the Eagles thought it. I mean, I don't think they ever thought this was going to happen, but it did. How can you let the defensive player of the year out the door? I just can't do that. I'm not saying you can offer him 6-year deal, but you got to at least try to keep him for 3 more years.
And here's the thing with Dean. Dean's expected to miss the first month of the season, September.
Right. So if you lose Dean, and he's not ready to go, and you lose Bond, you're going with 2 new linebackers. I'm not saying it can't work, but it becomes a question mark that if you have Bond back, there is no question mark.
The hiring of Kevin Patullo, does that do anything to your thinking in the draft? If they're going to stick to the run formula, do you stick in the trenches? D-line, O-line, that kind of stuff there? I mean, do you stay there? Do you trade out? I I like this idea. Trade to Tennessee or New England, where you get one of the top 3 picks in each round over like the second, third, and fourth round. You can have the top picks and top choices of every player, and they do a pretty good job. Next player, best player available kind of guy. That's kind of what Cooper DeJean was.
Yeah. Well, here's my thought. My thought is that I don't think Patullo changes anything about what they're playing in the draft. I don't think it changes anything. And actually, I think that we should actually add another running back. Like, I think 4th, 5th round, get another running back. Look, Saquon is Saquon. He's good. He's going to do his thing. But you do got to, I think, bring those total amount of carries down some. And so you'll have Shipley and then get another one. Get it to where you can have 3 guys go. To me, that would be something that I would like to see on offense them do is add a back that you can use. Have a 3-headed monster,
I like it. Let me ask you this now about Jalen here, finally here with Jalen. So I was watching today, and then I listened to the segment on 97.5, The Fanatic in Philly. Pete Prisco said this: over the next 5 years, he would take Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts, and said that over the next 5 years, those would be the guys that he would take.
And
have you ever seen a guy win an MVP award still have to fight for respect?
No. But I predicted this would happen because I said, you watch, when Jalen Hurts wins, they're going to say, oh, well, he had a great team around him. Anybody could have won. I mean, did you see last week when the champ brought up to Mark Holmes that if Dak was on the Eagles wouldn't have won? And he was like, oh, no, that's not the case. It is. Jalen Hurts gets disrespected. He's going to have to win 2 before people come around. They're already starting. They gave him like 3-4 days of respect, and then now it's back to the same old crap. I don't get it, dude. I don't. Like I've said to you all season, the guy to me is a winner, and he goes out in the biggest games and he wins. And I couldn't ask for more than that for my quarterback. That's what I want in my quarterback.
Here's the conversation, though. I think they cloud it with this. Does Jalen do anything exceptional as a skill set? No. But does Jalen win ball games? That has to be part of it. In my book, it does. That has to be. I made this comment about him. I think he's the most disciplined, and I think that he is the best decision-making quarterback in the NFL. That includes Mahomes. Okay?
Yeah,
a lot of these guys, and you made a great point, and Dave Wannstedt told me this. I go, could Joe Burrow go to Philly and win a Super Bowl? He goes, well, I can guarantee you this. If Joe Burrow was in Philly, Barkley's not getting 2,000 yards. And I said, why? He goes, because Jalen's part of the run game and the total package and how they attack teams. So he's saying he's probably the most versatile quarterback with the best decision-making. Dude, Lamar's a better talent, but Jalen's a better quarterback.
Yeah, well,
and
I mean,
two things be true.
Yeah, 2 things could be true. I think so. I mean, Lamar's great, but, I say the same thing about Dak. What have you done in the playoffs? You don't win playoff games. And to me, if we're looking at, I don't know, look, how many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls in the last, 10 years? It's not that many quarterbacks, right? It's Mahomes. Right. It was Brady at the end of his career. Stafford got one.
There's only one outlier. It was Foles.
Yeah. Other than that, there's really nobody else. It's always the same guys. So to me, I think it's very hard to win. And I think that playoff football is a lot different than regular season football. Regular season football, it's all about the stats, the numbers. And then you look, as soon as the playoffs start, all those passing numbers come down. The thing I like about Jalen is I think he plays playoff football all year long. I think he's always playing that style, and it fits him. So to me, I don't think this is the last one he's going to win. Like I think he's going to put multiple rings up there. I just think he's a winner. You know, you talk about Peyton Manning and Eli, right? Painting all the numbers. Eli's got the 2 Super Bowls. What would you rather have at the end of the day? The passing touchdown record or the Super Bowls? Give me the Super Bowls.
Multiple Super Bowl MVPs too, not just Super Bowls. He won Super Bowl MVPs that Eli. So, I mean, so the conversations though, Billy. I mean, you know, when they talk about him, you know, there's people that look at him and go, he's a product of the team. I mean, I do think that there's but there is something to that. I mean, and by the way, that's nothing on him. When Roethlisberger got drafted to the Steelers, he was always going to have a better career than Rivers. Why? Because Rivers went to San Diego. The Spanos family's not building a team around him. They're not putting a good coaching staff around him. But that's no slight on Jalen. That's all I'm saying. I do think that there is something where people go like this when they look at evaluating quarterbacks. Dude, would we not agree Joe Burrow's probably the best passing quarterback in the NFL when it comes to pure pocket guy? He's probably the best.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Sure. I don't necessarily disagree.
But that's how some of the people look at this. Then they go,
right.
Who's the guy you want to build your team? Okay. All that is said and done. I get it. But to me, when you look at Hurts, you look at discipline and decision making. Is he a better decision maker than Joe Burrow? I think he is. Is he a better decision maker than Josh Allen? I think Allen's gotten better.
Allen did get better.
But it's not good enough because the team, they still got $38 million that they have to cut off that team. So that team's going to get worse. All right.
Right.
Last question for you. Is there any team? Oh, wait. Here's the thing with Myles Garrett. Who on your Eagle team, not named Hurts, would not trade for Myles Garrett to have Nolan Smith, Myles Garrett, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Zach Vaughn, and also the Kobe Dean in your front 7? Is there anybody on your team you wouldn't trade for a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer and has averaged 14 sacks a year the last 7 years?
I wouldn't trade Quinyon Mitchell. I wouldn't trade Cooper DeJean. I wouldn't trade Nolan Smith.
You think Quinyon Mitchell's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I think he's got a chance. He just had a pretty good year, right? I'm not getting rid of a 22-year-old kid for a 29-year-old guy that I could win a Super Bowl without him on a team. He's got to be the extra piece. I can't take away from the foundation of what I've got for him at 30 years old. If he's 23 years old, okay. Myles Garrett's 27, okay. But he's like 30.
No, he's 28. I'll say this to you. He's the third best.
He's 28?
Yeah, he's 28. He's the
I thought he was 30.
He's the third best player in the league.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, he's averaged 14 and a half sacks. Okay? He's averaged 14 and a half sacks. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, and you're saying that you're not doing Q. Okay? All right. And who else wouldn't you do?
I ain't doing Cooper DeJean.
Okay, so then you're out of the sweepstakes for Myles Garrett. You're comfortable with what you have. You're not going to be in the room.
I am perfectly I could add depth. I'm perfectly comfortable. You see Jalen Hunt in that Super Bowl? You see my man Nolan Smith in that Super Bowl? Let those young guys play, man.
Okay, so
I mean, look, I would like Myles Garrett, but I'm not at the expense of one of those young guys.
Okay, so Jalen Hunt, in your opinion, should start in the place of Josh Sweat. You put him out there. You feel Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith can handle the corners, and your defensive tackle position. We'll stick with the edge. We're talking Myles. You're going with Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt in the 25.
Well, I'm still gonna add a pass rusher.
Okay.
I'm gonna add a pass rusher. I think they need to add another pass rusher Well, maybe draft or free agency. The free agency may be my one. Get me Bond signed, and then give me one other signing. And if I could get like another pass rusher, what about like Travon Walker in Jacksonville? What about a guy like that? Somebody like that I could bring in, and I would be fine. Not that I want Khalil Mack, but if they can sign somebody else and then add him into the rotation, somebody like that, like I think they can do stuff where I'm not giving you Myles, a young guy, for an older guy. I would love Myles Garrett. I think it would take the defense to the next level, but I can't put him there and then I have a giant hole now in my slot. I have to have big ass toe Vontae Maddox back in the slot. I'll get killed, No,
hey,
although he made a great play. He made a great play in the Super Bowl.
Let me ask you, let me sneak one more in on you here. You bring Slay back at 11-5? 34 years old.
Probably not. I'm back. I like Slay and from being a fan and being like having that like connection with our players. I would love to, but I don't think it's realistic. I think you got to let him walk. He's in the last year. I think he says he's retiring after this year, right? So you got a guy who doesn't finish, is always out of the game during games. He had a really good season, but he comes out a lot.
Yep.
And he's now won a ring, and he's now basically on his, farewell tour. So how hungry is he going to be?
But
is it going to bother Slay if they don't win a Super Bowl? Is it going to bother him the way it would somebody else? That's the one thing I like about bringing Myles Garrett in. You get Myles Garrett, and here's a guy that wants to win. I want guys that want to win. And I'm not saying Slay wouldn't, but I just think you have to consider with his age that he's in the last year of his contract. I think it's almost natural, like it's just human nature to not have that desperation,
When Jason Kelce, when he said he's rooting for the Chiefs, and he was going for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, then he shows up at that parade. Did you have a problem with any of that? Did you think any lesser of him? Did you? Because to me, my love for my kid or my love for my family is not predicated on a Super Bowl. My love, whether you know it or not. Hey, you think that if my daughter went to Florida, that I'm going to sit there and be going like this, go Gators? That's fucking nuts. I'm not. That's not happening. Okay, honey, I love you. I hope you play great and all, but I don't know, man. My love's not predicated on a football game. My love's predicated on my actions. And I kind of think when I was watching that New Heights interview between the two of them, the Kelce brothers, I started laughing because it was like, I was really conflicted. I'm like, started laughing.
Boo-hoo.
How did you take it?
Yeah, I guess in some ways it rubbed me wrong a little bit because here's my thing. I just think the way he acted when the Eagles won, it just was apparent he was rooting for his brother. But, why did it take you 2 or 3 days to put something up? Like he got weird. He got weird when the Eagles won. I don't know. I just think it's like, look, okay, that's your brother. You're going for him. I just feel like he was kind of BSing everybody. You know what I mean? It's like you could smell it, the BS. And then when his brother lost, instead, he put up something congratulating the Eagles and he took it down. Like, just put it up and be done with it. Like he got so rattled emotionally about it that it just made me feel like it was kind of disingenuous he was happy that they won. That's what it felt.
And this is coming from our friend, Philly.500, who, don't be mistaken, my friends, would never get hit by a Bud Light bottle like Howie Roseman was. And
not with these mugs. I catch everything.
I saw somebody, when you always remember, when you throw a Bud Light bottle, you throw like this. It's under. Mark Holmes throws Bud Light bottles.
That dude's losing his mind. Have you watched?
How is he handling this?
he has lost his mind. Like they did a whole video about, well, Eagle fans celebrate now because in 4 years, 5 years down the road, you're going to have to pay for these cap decisions. Dude, he's been saying that since 2016. All right. And now Dallas is going to sign all these people, and maybe the coaching change is what they need. Like I think he's literally gone. Like, I don't think he knows what to think anymore or what to believe. I think he's lost his mind.
Oh man,
I do. The champ thinks so.
Hey, I think you beat him up so bad, man. This was like Hulk Hogan off the top rope, dog.
Well,
I mean,
it wasn't even. I mean, his team, it stinks, and they do stupid things.
Hey, did you
makes
see
it easy.
Emmanuel Acho saying that they are one post season?
Yeah.
They're get this. They're one
season
and 3 players away from having an Eagle team.
Yeah. I know. When are they going to find? Where are you going to find offensive player of the year and the defensive player of the year? Essentially, yeah. I mean, I don't know why everybody always is kissing the Cowboys, but they're not that good. Dak has never won, and yet I have to hear that he's still better than Jalen Hurts. Like, the guy doesn't win big games. I'm sorry, and watching Mark not be able to acknowledge that fact, to me, is the greatest thing ever. And the video of all time that I can't wait for is when Dak leaves Dallas. When it's gone and he's gone and he parts ways and he has no Super Bowl rings. And Mark has to come on there and look at the camera and say bye-bye, Dak.
And what?
I can't wait
welcome
for
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, welcome Cooper Rush. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it just baffles me, the Cowboys' logic. And what the Cowboy fans, they do is this. They come after you, attack your team. Well, we got 5 rings. We got this. We got that. Then you say something back, and then they're like, oh, no, why are we on your minds? Why are you thinking about us? It's like, nobody's thinking about you. We're just standing up and just debating what you just said. They're like, they're that person that hits somebody, and then when they get ready to get hit back, oh, no, please don't hit me. That's the Cowboys.
Dude, the last time the Cowboys were relevant, MySpace was a thing. Okay,
I know, and it's not getting any better. There's nothing that they've done that I'm like, oh damn, just see what who the Cowboys hired a coach. Oh crap, nothing to worry about.
There's a championship trophy in the offseason. The Cowboys are undefeated the last 6 years.
What is Dak, $90 million against the cap right now?
Yes,
$90 million.
Right. There were payphones when the Cowboys were relevant.
Yeah, VHS tapes. That's what it was.
Philly, tell the folks where they can find you, my good friend.
Just type in Philly.500 and I'll come up. You'll see me, my beautiful Denzel
I thought it was
Washington.
maybe just the champ. If you just put
champ you could just type in the champ. Yeah, we're working on that. I'm trying to make the proper links for YouTube. YouTube's giving me some problems with that, but the champ it is, and champ will be here all year long.
Let me throw. Wait, would you let Bond go out in the open market? Would you test the open market with him?
Not if I can help it. Not if I can help it.
So before March 12th, you think a deal will be done before March 12th?
No, I don't. I think I wouldn't want to do that. I think he's going to want to test the market. Why? I mean, I think he's going to want to test the market, and then he's probably going to give the Eagles a chance to match. I think that's what's going to happen. But would I like to not have him hit the market? Yeah. If I could get a deal done beforehand, I'm all for it. And I think they should try. I just don't know if they will. I believe he's going to end up back in Philly, but I just think it's going to cost us a lot.
Philly.500, you are sensational. Thank you for the overtime.
Thank you, my man.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it, champ.
Thank you. All right, champ out.
That is our friend Philly.500. He was absolutely awesome as always. My friends, do me a favor. Please check out our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Big Sills introduced you to John Morgan last week. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm in the country. They're the biggest. That's why we have them here on the program, because they are the biggest advertisers, because people need to know that if you're ever injured, you go to the largest injury law firm in America because of their track record. $20 billion in recovered assets for families across America. That's the resume that Morgan & Morgan has. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania. $650K they were offered. No way. The team of Morgan & Morgan went in there, got that family $26 million. A family in Florida was only offered $350K. This is what the insurance companies come in at. They always come in and try to lowball you, and Morgan & Morgan knows that. They went in there with their team of attorneys and got $12 million for their family. If you're ever injured, please do me a favor and check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound law 529. Again, forthepeople.com/Big Sills or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is